Hi all, Simon here. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about sharing your story and why it's so powerful and how to get started. So for me, I've done a reasonable amount of work with video in the past. It actually been a couple of years, I guess, since I'd really done anything live. But what I found is that getting back into it, I didn't pick up all my skills again straight away, but obviously I knew where I was going wrong and why. But for anybody starting out, video might not be the best way. I mean, it could be that if you've got social media, maybe you're using Facebook or maybe something like X, you could just start writing about it. But what you'll find is that once you start sharing, you will start to get people that connect with you and empathize with you, and you'll start to realize that actually you're not on your own, even though sometimes it might feel like it, especially when, in my case, where I've got absolutely no help from the NHS. They see me, they give me appointments, they talk to me, but in terms of treatment, absolute zero, bupkis, nothing, nada. So, this whole idea of trying to do things on my own is one of those things that you kind of think, God, is it only me? But then when you start looking around, as I have, you find other people's stories that are sharing their story, like I'm sharing mine, and maybe you're sharing yours. And then all of a sudden that you realise that, hey, look, it's not just me. There are dozens of other people that have gone to the NHS, gone to their local health providers if they're in a different country to the UK, and they found that they can't get help either because whatever treatment it is they found that they want to do isn't recognised as an established medical protocol. It's not standard of care, and they can't get help with doing that. And so this is why I believe it's really important that everybody that, maybe even if they're not in the situation of deciding whether or not they should take the standard of care, if you've been told something that doesn't sit right with you and you want to learn more about it, even if you're going ahead with it, you should share it, you should talk about it, you should find other people in similar situations, maybe ask for advice, not medical advice, but advice on where to look, information to look up, people that maybe have more experience in a research capacity or a medical capacity as a practitioner, because it will help you realise that actually we're not doing this alone. It's not always the easiest thing to find people that are walking your exact journey, and this is one of the reasons why the Cancer Warriors group on school.com is so valuable for so many people. I think we're over 350 odd people on there now, and we're just growing out to a second group as well, which will be great when that comes online. Bernardo's working hard on getting a load more information into there, so that's something that we can all look forward to. But if you have uncertainty that other people are going through the same thing as you, then you potentially are missing out on learning about things that other people have had to do research on and find out about. Because if you're not looking for those stories, or if you're not telling those stories, it may be that somebody hears your story and goes, oh, that's like so-and-so story that I heard, and they may just drop a link. You know, I've had a few links dropped in some of my comments. Some of them have been inside the school group. I've had a couple of private messages sent to me saying, you know, thanks for sharing your story. I had somebody on a live yesterday saying I look like their brother. Now, I can't say that's a good thing. Maybe we should all feel sorry for them too, I don't know. But, you know, it's that sense of connection that you're going to be missing out on if you're not sharing your story. And yes, share it with loved ones, close friends and family, you know, your best mates, whatever. But there is something to be said about getting your story out to a wider audience if you've got a social following. And if you haven't, I mean, even if you're comfortable with being on camera, just set up a TikTok or a YouTube channel. Doesn't have to be your main one. It could be just a completely brand new separate channel that you just set up just to talk about your story, your journey. And I happen to use my personal channel because I'd never used it for anything else. I might have set it up 10 years ago for all I can remember, but never really used it. But now I've got something to talk about, so you know, I can look up at Simon Lown on YouTube or at Simon Lown on TikTok. I think I've got it on X as well. You know, I've got all of the various socials. But I am finding that I am getting, you know, connections with people that I don't know, have never met. People are offering ideas and suggestions. There's, you know, people dropping links to various studies. You know, when I talk about various things that I look into, you know, people will often drop a link. Maybe one that I've seen before, may not be. But, you know, in general, people are, you know, more than willing to help. Now, you know, one of the reasons that I started using my YouTube channel and my TikTok channels was to basically drop the links for my GoFundMe in every video that I create. I've now raised a couple of £100, and I'm incredibly grateful for the people that have, you know, supported me with those donations. Some of them are smaller, some of them are slightly larger. I mean, people are dropping £50 donations. I don't know them. You know, these are people that I haven't met. I think I know who one of the people is, but still haven't met them. And I would say that sharing your story can be a win in and of itself, because when you have the courage to speak out about what it is you're doing and why you're doing it, it is something that other people will connect and resonate with you for. And so just the process of sharing can be something that supports you, and you can have some fairly unexpected benefits just from being open. And, you know, so there are many others out there that may well help you with your experience. And so even though my particular type of cancer is stage 1 colorectal, I've had people connecting with me about AAA negative breast cancers and some of the stuff that they've read about. Now, it may be that those two cancers have very little in common, but there might still be something in the science behind it that could connect them in different ways, and metabolic therapy is definitely one of them, but there could be other things as well. So it's always worth looking into, even if you think it may not be something that's going to bear out at the end of the day. And from having people connect with you and tell you about their stories, you also get a sense of purpose from that. And storytelling, in a sense, it creates meaning for your life, and it potentially can build legacy as well, because you might record these videos today not thinking that anybody is really going to have any benefit from them, but it could turn out a few months down the line that something that you've done becomes a bit more mainstream, and you can refer back to that and tell people about how you came about it, the experience you had with it. You just don't know what's going to happen in the future. So it's definitely something that, even though you might not feel like what you're sharing right now has massive value, and I feel the same. It's like, I'm talking about stage 1 colorectal cancer with, has a standard of care cure that basically I'm not happy with. It's like, there's no way, no how I'm taking that as a first option, which to some might sound quite selfish, because if they're stage 3 or 4, they may not have that option at all, and would jump at the chance to have a surgery that could potentially cure them of not just the cancer that they've got, but the disease that caused it. But for me, I'm in a different place, and that may resonate well with other people. So, in some respects, that might isolate me from some people, and it's one of those things that can't always tell what information that you're putting out there, whether or not it's going to help people or give them doubts. Somebody might look at what I've chosen and just go, you're an absolute nutter. Why wouldn't you just do what the doctors say? But then my research has basically told me that the doctors really don't know enough to give me everything that I need in terms of a full answer to say that this is my only and best hope. I don't believe that's the case at all. So when I first started doing this, there was an element of, do I keep what I'm trying to do and why I'm trying to do it private? There's an element of fear in being judged for saying that actually I've got cancer and I've been offered a treatment, but it's not the right one, so I want to go a different way, but the NHS won't help me with that. And I've had to go and find a different supporting audience, if you like, because the NHS will not help. They are not being friendly about it, and I know that's not their job, but the amount of scrunched up foreheads and furrows in brows that I have to sit through when I go to a consultation is mind-blowing. The lack of education that these people have been given about metabolic therapy, because I fully believe that this is something that people can use to cure cancer, and yet it's as if you're telling these people that you've found a fairy with a magic wand and they're going to come and wave it over you and you'll be cured. It's like they're just not getting it. So Start crossing the road here. I'll just go over the key points and wrap this one up. Basically, if you want to start sharing your journey, you've got to consider what you want to keep private, what you want to share, obviously. The first steps for hesitant sharers, maybe join a cancer group like school.com. You can stay anonymous. You don't have to give your real name when you join. There are other platforms as well. So really you can, if you want to, see what helps out there before you actually divulge any information about you. And you can set boundaries about how much you're going to share. If you're a good writer, then obviously you could use your social media. If you're good with video, again, you could still use your Facebook. You could use your stories. You could use TikTok or Facebook like I'm doing. But at the end of the day, the fact that you're putting your information out there, you're telling your story, and you're essentially showing people what struggles you're going through and how you're dealing with it, potentially could help a lot of people. Now, I've only been doing this for just about a month, and I'm getting about 1,000 views a day. And it's just over on YouTube and just under on TikTok. Now, that's nowhere near influencer level, but for such a niche topic, I'm talking about stage 1 cancer, colorectal cancer, metabolic therapy, various other therapies that are not considered to be sort of real by the medical professions, and yet still 1,000 people a day are finding my videos and watching them, and I'm getting likes and comments, and I've even had a couple of shares. I would like more shares, by the way. If you guys are watching and you've got any kind of information on any of your channels about any of the subjects that I just said, share would be lovely. Shares are really, really great for the algorithm, so love your likes, love your comments. The watch time's fantastic. Thank you for joining me, but a few more shares would be nice if you don't mind, just so you know. But yeah, I mean, just know that just by sharing your story, even if the people that you're helping don't necessarily feel confident enough to do the likes or the shares or put their name in the comments, you could still be helping them, and you could still be helping them find a way to deal with problems that they're having. And that's the way I look at it, because not everybody who sees your stuff is going to engage with it. I mean, that's just not the way the social media works. That's right. But in terms of the number of people that you can help, I mean, some of the videos that I post, they don't get much love, I'll be honest. I mean, they only get a few views here and there. But then, a couple of 3 weeks later, I might look at them again, and they've gone up, and there's another dozen people have watched them. So it could be that people are finding me on one of my lives or some of my shorts, and they're going back and watching some of the slightly longer content that I've created earlier on. So I feel like it's all worth doing in the long run. And as long as people are getting value out of it, I shall carry on trying to help people where I can. So if you've got any questions, about how to get started, I mean, you can see for most of my content, I just do it when I'm out on a walk. I'm conscious of the traffic, but it seems that my phone's reasonably good at cutting that out. And if I listen back and really terrible, I'll run it through an AI editor and filter out the really noisy traffic. But all in all, most people have got a good enough phone that's plenty enough to get started with. You can take decent pictures with it, you can take decent videos with it. If you have to, just record your videos at home, sit in front of a big window in your lounge, switch it on, have a nice framed picture behind you or something. It doesn't have to be anything special. The message and the content is more important than high quality video equipment and big mics on stands. You don't need all that. It's the message that's important. It's the journey that you're taking and the fact that you're willing to share it. So yeah, I think I'll leave that one there for now. I think that's covered pretty much everything I wanted to talk about on this one. So again, if you've got any comments, any questions, please do leave them below. Like this video if you liked it, and if you can, please do share, because that really will help a lot. And for all of the people that have already donated, a massive thank you from the bottom of my heart. It really does mean a lot to me. I've had a couple of £100 of donations now on my GoFundMe. It really does mean a lot, because it does mean that some people are getting my message and willing to help, which is really amazing from my perspective. So I've raised a couple of £100. Ideally, I would like to raise quite a few £1,000, because there are some quite expensive tests that I would ideally like to get done that will really massively help me treat my cancer much more quickly and effectively. But even those few £100 really, really will help a lot. So thank you for those that have donated. And I will see you on the next update. So I wish you all a good morning, afternoon, evening, or good night, wherever you are. So take care. Bye bye for now.